Love cherry chapstick. Hey, SPA product, could you, can you hear me okay? Just let me know in the chat. Do you know where the chat is? Just want to make sure we're good with our. Oh, great. Here comes Anka. Hey, Anka. Can you hear me okay? Just let me know. Just give me a thumbs up in the chat. And while you're in there, just tell me what the age is of your autistic graduate. Hey, Paula. So good to see you. Hi, Lily. So nice to see you here today. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day. I really do. I know you all are busy. Everybody's busy. Lily, you good? Oh, hi, Lorraine. So glad you're here. Hi, Trisha. Hi, Trisha. Everybody's good? There's Lily. Good afternoon. She's right in the chat. You need to know where the chat is. You may have to open your Zoom window a little because of the chat is right next to the share screen option. And I'm just going to stop the video for everybody and I'll turn it on at the, when I start to answer questions. Okay. So, whoops, no, I didn't mean to mute you, Paula. Anyway, I did. Sorry. Everybody good? Oh, there we are. I'm also gonna stop the video. Great. Okay. Thank you so much for everybody for coming, and really, really thank you for being the kind of parent who wants to figure out what works to help our autistic graduates advocate for themselves. Self-advocacy is the #1 skill. They need to know how to do this both within your home and in the workplace. And so since working with autistic graduates for the last 4 years, I found that their #1, oh, there's Thomas, great. Their #1 concern is getting a good job. And once they got that job, their next #1 concern is how to, I'm just going to turn off all the videos, Thomas, is for now. Okay. Is for, how do I do well in that job? I mean, everybody wants to do well in their job. So those are the 2 top concerns that I hear from the autistic graduates that I work with. And yeah, it's a mouthful. It's very complex to get a job, and it's also very complex to do well in a job environment that is set up for allistics. Allistics is a word coined to describe everyone who isn't autistic. So it's just nice to have one word to describe it all. So again, thank you all for being here, being the kind of people who want to figure this out. Hi, Eileen. Oh, it's so good to see you, Eileen. I'm so glad you could come. Yep, I'm so glad. So I'm just muting and turning off videos for everybody until we get to, more of a place where I'm going to interact with everybody. So I just want you to know that I'm so glad you're here. So Dr. Neff can't make it, unfortunately, because she is not feeling well. And so what she did instead was record a chapter from her upcoming book, Self-Care for Autistic People. It's called Discover the Power of Self-Advocacy. So it's exactly what we need. So I really appreciate her gracious offer of the narration of her chapter, and you'll find it right at the When Autism Grows Up podcast. So I'll send a follow-up email with all the links to you all that are here, as long as you include your email in the chat. So if you could just plug your email in the chat so that I can find it easily, and I will send you an email that just, summarizes what we did today. So the best thing about Dr. Megan Anna Neff, and she says we can call her either Dr. Neff or Megan Anna. She's fine with either one. Thanks, Lily. Thanks, Anka. I appreciate it. Is that she is a genius at simplifying concepts so that they get in our brains and stick, and creating visuals that help us take them in. So she's using both the sense of sight, sense of sight and the sense of hearing as well, for us to really get what goes on, get it into our brain and have it stick. And here's the simplest, best idea. She says, here's the formula for self-advocacy. Self-advocacy is self-disclosure plus your requests. Okay, I got that. That's 3 things. I can always do 3 things in my brain, much more than that, and it's hard for it to stick. What she says is important to recognize, and I'm summarizing that chapter that she shared with us. So what's important to recognize, so these are all, actually I should put quotes around this just to be safe, because I know there's been some people in the news recently who have been chastised for not for plagiarism, and I don't want that. I want you to know that I'm taking these words directly from Dr. Neff. So she says that disclosure can vary in depth from the comprehensive to the limited. Good to know. I hadn't really thought about that. When I talk to my graduates about advocacy in the workplace, they go, I don't want to tell people I'm autistic. And the answer is you don't need to at all. In fact, it may not be helpful, because not many people are, well schooled on what's going on with an autistic brain, and they just don't know what to do with the information. Well, okay, well, still, what does that mean? And what it means is tell them a limited piece of what it is that they need to know. So you don't have to fully disclose. Dr. Neff is very clear on this, and her book's coming out March 14th. So I'm hoping we can hear from her again then. You simply can request what you need without explanation at all. That's what you can say. You can say, it's noisy in here, let's move to a quieter place. That's an advocacy statement. A partial disclosure advocacy could be, I have trouble hearing when there's a lot of noise around me. So could we move to a less noisy place, like the booth or outside, so that I can really concentrate on what I'm hearing from you? Okay, we went back and we used that self-disclosure. I have trouble with understanding and hearing when there's a lot of noise. And the request is, can we go outside, or can we go to a booth in the restaurant, or whatever it is, to cut down some of that ambient noise? Good to know. She suggests that that partial disclosures can sometimes be more impactful. So it's an explanation of the self-disclosure is, here's why I need what I'm requesting. And we can do some more examples in just a bit, and I'll show you why. You'll understand in a minute why I'm holding off on more examples. So sometimes she suggests that if we jot down a quick script ahead of time, that can make the interaction go more smoothly. So if we've rehearsed what we're going to say and why, like if last week we noticed at work that, we missed really important things. Hi, Peggy. So glad you're here. Hi, Peggy. I'm so glad you're here. So I'm muting and I'm turning off videos for everybody, just so until I'm done with the 20-minute at most presentation I've got for you here of Dr. Neff's great ideas. She wasn't able to make it because of some health concerns, which is great that she advocated for herself, and I am more than willing to accommodate. So, if you've noticed last week that you missed some of the details of an explanation that was given in a meeting, good to know that. It's hard sometimes for brains to take it all in. And so the request would be, could I transcribe our meeting so I don't miss anything and listen to it later? That way I can get the information that I need on my own time. Maybe that's an interesting, way to do it. Okay, where are we? Peggy, I am going to turn off your video, just so you know. Not on purpose, not because I'll turn it back on, but I'm just going to turn it off for now until I'm done with this formal part. All right, so here's another great idea from Dr. Neff. And these are all quotes from the chapter in her book on self-advocacy. And her book is coming out March 14th. Look at the balloons. I have no idea what that happens. Somebody got into the software somewhere, either through Zoom or through Prezi, my presentation software. And all of a sudden these balloons go off. I have no idea. It wasn't my fault. Okay. I have no control. So what she's saying is we need to practice the skill. We're not going to be perfect at it the first time we try. That's really important for us to recognize, because just a minute ago, I violated one of my own rules. I have a rule to not suggest, advise, or criticize my graduates. And I just did it. They were saying that the situation they're facing right now, well, at 3 o'clock, they anticipate it's going to be difficult. And hold on. I had to turn off my heater. So I was suggesting that they could advocate, and I was telling them how to do it. And I recognize now that's not what they need. What they needed was for me to just reflect the emotion and summarize what they said in a soundbite. I'm still learning on all this. I'm still practicing being the guide that my graduates need. And I've been doing this, for a very long time. And our oldest is 54. Our youngest is 27. I've been with them, with the 54-year-old since they were 12. So it's been more than 40 years I've been trying to do this. So I'm getting better, but I'm not perfect, which is a good thing to keep in mind. But that's okay. I don't have to be a perfect parent as long as I show up. That's all we have to do, is show up. There's some good research behind what I say. Don't want to get distracted. The second thing is that she mentions is sometimes people don't get why you need these accommodations. Some people just don't understand that there are lots of different types of brains, and some function, and they all function differently. There's 8 billion of them. And if we could, the percentage of people with autistic brains is somewhere between 3 and let's say 5% out of 8 billion people. So that means there's like 240 to 400,000 people who have an autistic brain. And it just means that their experience in life is different. And yes, and the whole world is set up to accommodate the middle of the bell-shaped curve. School is, work is, and so it doesn't often account for the differences in an autistic brain. And that's why the burden really does fall on the autistic person to advocate for what they need. It's unfortunate. It sure would be nice if we could all be a lot more flexible in the way that we operate at home, at school, at work, but it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to happen over time. So we have to know these skills in order to get what we need, in order to perform the way that we want to in all those various settings. So Dr. Neff gives us a tool, which is a very helpful tool. But just remember that when we are we are advocating for ourselves, there are some people who just don't get it. And that says nothing about you, your graduate, or them, frankly. It just means that they just don't understand. They just don't understand. And you're trying to connect with them, and they just don't understand. That's what it means. So Dr. Neff gives us a tool. It's called the self-disclosure thermometer, because she says people like me with my neurology, we tend to have all or nothing thinking. Sound familiar? That all or nothing, black-white thinking. And also, it's not always safe to fully disclose. People don't need to know everything about us. They just don't need to know that. So she offers us this neurodivergent self-disclosure thermometer. This is available free at her website. So I gave you the link in the email that I just sent you at 11 o'clock today, and I'll put it in there again in the follow-up email that I send you. So here's where you can see she is, because this is her version, she's very comfortable disclosing that she has sensory sensitivities. In the book, or in the book, she describes the situation where she went to a restaurant and was sitting at a metal table in a big open space. And she said she knew that wasn't going to work for her because she could smell the metallic and it made her nauseous. So she asked the waiter, hey, I can't sit at this table because the metallic scent makes me nauseous. Could you move me to one over there that's a wood table that's in a booth so that I can enjoy my dinner? And they accommodated. Good to know. She's also discloses that she has difficulty processing auditory information. Good to know, right? She puts that one down there. She's comfortable disclosing that one. And in the book example, which is also the episode of the podcast, she describes where she's in a loud space and she just requests to be moved to a space that's either a booth or outside. Really good to know. My brain tends to interpret things literally. She's getting a little closer to not being as comfortable disclosing those. So she'll probably do that only when she needs to. And she goes on, I struggle with detail and regulating attention. How many of us have seen that happen? Then she moves up to, sometimes I misread subtle social cues. Yeah. I experience executive functioning challenges, meaning getting things done, just period. We struggle with that. I'm neurodivergent. She's getting into the real uncomfortable, but she's worked her way through that because she has neurodivergent conversations is the name of her podcast. And then I'm ADHD, I'm an ADHDer, or I'm autistic. She discloses to certain people, the people that come to her website, the people that come to her podcast, which is excellent. So this is what we want to encourage our young adults to put together, and we could do it for ourselves. First, showing them that we're willing to disclose, to be vulnerable, the things that we need accommodated. Sometimes we have tastes that we prefer. Sometimes we have a limited palate in terms of what we're willing to eat. Sometimes we prefer our certain types of clothing. We don't like zippers and snaps, and a restrictive waistband. Sometimes, you can go through the list of all the things that come up that are perfectly normal for people with autistic brains. Perfectly normal. So let's come up with a list, and then we put it on the thermometer, stack ranked by what we're comfortable sharing and what we're less comfortable sharing. And that's how we prepare to be a self-advocate. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful tool. Here's another example. I have difficulties focusing, and it's a bit distracting here. Is it okay if we sit in the booth over there away from the noise? There's another example of a self-advocacy approach. Here's another one. I have trouble taking in a lot of information. Can I transcribe our conversation and listen to it later? I want to make certain that I don't miss anything important. This is what I do with my graduates. Whenever I go to a doctor's appointment with them, I find doctors talk really quickly, and I know there's a lot of pressure on them to complete the conversation in a prescribed amount of time. So when I set my phone down, I tap on the Otter app that I have on my phone. After asking for permission, I transcribe the conversation, and then we can go over it later. We can, or we don't have to, but at least we have it there. And often I share that with other family members so that they understand what was said at the doctor's office, because we are all concerned about each other's health. So it's nice if they can't come to that appointment, or if nobody's, only one person is what makes the graduate comfortable. Let's do that. Do it that way. Hi, Jill. There's Jill. Great. Hi, Jill. So good to see you. I have muted and turned off the videos for everybody. I am recording this conversation and I will transcribe it. I forgot to turn on Otter before we started, which would have been really smart. But I have appointments all afternoon, so I will maybe not get a chance to edit the transcription, but I'll still give you the link, and just know that the transcription will get better as I have time to edit it. So Dr. Neff concludes with a couple of observations in that clip that she read of the chapter in her upcoming book. She says that self-advocacy depends on self-awareness, of course, and that there's some barriers to self-awareness, like interoception difficulties, when we have trouble feeling what's happening inside of our body, alexithymia, when we have trouble putting words to feelings, or the fact that we're so used to masking that we don't always look for our own needs. Instead, we just take care of everybody else. So she recommends that, especially in the workplace, there is an organization that she finds helpful. And the address is Ask Jan. And Jan is the Job Accommodations Network. And in there, you will find a lot of different descriptions of things that need to be advocated and accommodated. And she's found that that has been a really helpful resource to her people. So I do want you to know again that I have provided Dr. I'm going to copy this and put it in the chat. Dr. Neff's reading of this chapter is, I wanted to do this, is available at the podcast. And here is, oh, okay, hold on. Here is everyone in the meeting. All right. Here is in the chat, you'll find the link to the transcript of the podcast, which is Dr. Neff reading the chapter in her forthcoming book about self-care for autistic people. It's available March 14th. So it was really kind of her to narrate that for us. I really appreciate that. So you can hear her voice, and just, you know, she's just great. And the email I just sent you a couple of hours ago has all the links to her website where you can get her free goodies. All right. So that's the great idea that I have for you. We're going to just go back to the top. And this is it. Self-disclosure plus the request is what makes is self-advocacy. That's the definition of self-advocacy. So I'm going to turn everybody's, I'm going to ask everybody if they want to start their video. If you want to start your video, come on, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you have. And you can opt out. That's fine too. All righty. I see Paula. You know, Eileen is here. There she is. Hi guys. How you doing? All right. So you got to turn on your microphone too.
The link that you sent gave me an error that I need access for a Google Drive, and I don't think I can see the transcript of that book that you're talking about.
Thanks for telling me.
You to know.
Here's the best way to get it. If you just go to the podcast episode and scroll down, it's at the bottom of the podcast episode page.
Okay.
So
I'll look for that.
There. Yeah.
All right.
I know.
Which podcast is that?
That's the episode that I just sent you in the email I sent you at 11 o'clock.
Okay.
It's the When Autism Grows Up podcast. You'll find it on Spotify and Apple. Those are the two places that carry my podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I'm gonna head out because I got stuff I need to work on. So, but I figured I'd stick around for that part about the thing about the book, because if I'm not, yeah. All right.
All righty. Thanks for coming, Thomas. I appreciate seeing you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Lynn, are we going to get a recording as well of this
Yeah.
program? Okay, thank you.
Yes, I will publish it at my YouTube channel, and I'll send you a link to it. Probably tomorrow is when I'll have a chance to send you a follow-up email, because I have my schedule's packed this afternoon.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for those questions. Hello. How you doing? I'm not going to say your name because I know your name, but I'm not going to say your name because you haven't. If you want to, that's okay. Are you good? Everybody good? That's good. Okay, so how did that land? Tell me. Give me some comments, some thoughts.
A lot to think about.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you'll find that's the case. I think you'll find that if we can use that simple, if we can use the simple equation and encourage our graduates to practice it at home, that would be so helpful for them to practice. So if we sit down and share our own self-disclosure thermometer, which says, I did this work because I think it's really important, just the fact that you did that, print that one page out. And you'll find that at her website. And again, I'll send you the links again, but you'll find that at her website for free. Dr. Neff's website, it's free. So just print out that one page and just fill it out. And if you fill it out, then you're saying, hey, I think this is important. You know, I'm really curious what yours would look like. And then we can, hopefully they would say something like, this topic just makes me freaking nervous. I can't even imagine, you know, making an assertion at work. Say that's perfectly understandable. So that's not where we're going to start. We're going to start at home so we can practice this together. So I may make us advocate with you. I may say, hey, at the end of the day, when you try to tell me all about your problems, I'm beat and I can't take them in. So I would appreciate it if we would have these conversations when the sun's up. There it is. There's the assertion. There's the self-advocacy piece. So you can also say, hey, I'm going to practice a self-advocacy here with you, and I want to show you what it looks like from my perspective. So I say to you, I'm exhausted at the end of the day. Anytime after the sun goes down, if you give me a lot of information, I'm not going to take it in. Love the balloons. So it would be great if you would, you know, you could text me, you could send me an email, or you could wait till tomorrow when I'm in my good taking in hours, which are when the sun's up. I don't know. I just made that up on the spot here. So I don't know if that's something y'all would want to say, but I do find that sometimes at the end of the night, it's like, I'm going this way and they're like following me, telling me, right? And this happened and that happened, right? And I just have a hard time tracking. So I don't know. Wait till or you could say, I'm having a hard time tracking. Wait till I get a piece of paper and a pencil so I can write this stuff down. Because I'm not going to remember half of what you said, but if I jot down some thoughts if I jot down your thoughts, it'll help me remember what we need to work on tomorrow. That could be a different, you know, request. I mean, you can see how we can use this. If we can use this. No one taught me how to advocate for myself when I was a kid. Did anybody teach you? No, we were expected, especially as women, to accommodate everybody else's needs, right? That's just the way that the human system works right now, for better or worse. So now we know how to do it. It's that self-disclosure. Here's the trouble I'm having, plus the request. That's it. Those two pieces. And we can disclose as much as we want. We do not have to disclose, I just had a hot flash and I'm really uncomfortable right now. So I'm not attuning so well. We don't have to say that. I mean, maybe they can tell from the flush on our face, but whatever it is, we choose to disclose. Hey, look, I'm not taking in what you're saying right now. Let me grab a piece of paper and just hold that thought. And I'm going to start writing these things down so we can really look at them, because I really do care. I really do care. I just can't, I'm in a place where I can't take it in right now. Because they'll go on. There's a new term I learned in Dr. Neff's community, which is monotropism. Have you ever heard of that term before? I have to share this one with you because it's like, oh, a new word to know. So monotropism is what she says is, oh, come on, where's the very first one? No, let's see if I can find it. Okay. No, I can't find the definition really fast, but it's like a fixation on a singular topic. So I experience monotropism when sometimes I'm so into doing what I'm doing that I forget to go to an appointment. That's monotropism, when I'm just singularly focused on something and I'm like kind of in my own world. And so this happens to, a lot of humans, not just people with an autistic brain. I've missed, the 18 years I was in corporate, I missed really important meetings because I was at my desk working on something that I thought was really cool. So I now, every Monday, I map out my week and I turn on alarms for any appointment that I have. And so my phone reminds me what I need to do. Thank goodness. I don't have a secretary or, I don't need to rely on somebody else to keep me on my calendar. And when I don't do it, I regret it. That's one of the things I teach in the program is how to set yourself up for the week. So keep coming at me. What other thoughts do you have? Oh, there it is. Monotropism is a person's tendency to focus their attention on a small number of interests at any time, tending to miss things outside of that attention tunnel. Oh, I love that visual. This cognitive strategy has been posited as the central underlying feature of autism. Okay, so I love that. Thank you, Lily, for posting that. And while I think it's a really great concept, I don't think that it gets everything. So I'm not sure that it's the central underlying feature, but I think it could be, a major feature of autism for sure. That monotropism. Now go say that to somebody else and they won't, what is that? The idea. So it's good though. It's good though. It makes me really believe that I could be autistic. And I do come from a family of a lot of autistic people. So it's genetically, I'm predisposed, very predisposed to autism. And all of our kids are adopted, so they can't blame it on me. Right? So this is, Eileen's going, yep. Eileen and I share adoption.
One thing I can't be blamed for.
Yeah. That's when they know they need to do something, but they're avoiding it, they're arguing with it, or they're attacking. Those are the three things that all humans tend to do when they don't want to do something uncomfortable. And it makes sense. It just seems to be amplified with autism. I don't know if it is or not, or if it's just we're really aware of what's going on with our kids and, we want to help them. I don't know. Yeah. So please let me know, what other questions do you have? Or we can cut this at 35 minutes and I'd be perfectly happy with that too. And you'll have a whole 25 more minutes of things that of open time. That would be my gift to you. What do you think? Are we ready to be done? Or, oh yeah, look at that. I have no idea how that happened. Somebody snuck in there and put some You know how they do that sometimes. I don't know where that came from. That was not me.
Fireworks in the snow.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah.
Although all of our snow's gone. Is it gone for you too? It's all gone. It melted. Yeah. So
I
maybe
think this is
go ahead.
gonna be, it's probably will be helpful for Jill. She hasn't gotten a job yet. But she's always been in environments where people had an idea of what to do with people who have autism. Like high school and college were both very accommodating, and she will be in an environment, well, hopefully not, but there's a possibility that when she gets a job, she'll be dealing with people who are not as aware about what autism is. So I think this is going to be really helpful.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll put it in that toolkit. In her
Yeah.
toolkit, in those, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the partnering piece of the 7 habits that heal anxiety. So if you know how to assert, how to be as your own self-advocate, you can be more comfortable doing it. And particularly if you've practiced it in a safe environment, which would be at home.
Yeah.
Right. Or if you've seen others practice it, oh, that's how that works. We can learn however we want to, which is why it's so critical for all of us parents as guides to know how to explain this stuff in simple terms so it goes in and sticks. Yeah. And then we use it too. It helps us as well. Yeah. All right. Thanks for that thanks for your comment. I appreciate that a lot, Lorraine. Yeah. Anybody else? Lily, how old is just the age? How old is your autistic graduate? You can put it in the chat if you want.
So, he's not a graduate. This is the first time I'm coming to one of your workshops.
Okay.
He hasn't even been diagnosed.
Ah,
And so I'm just trying to find out what's going on.
yes.
But I see just even listening to you just a little bit, I can see because I have tried for him for self-advocacy, but he refuses. It's I don't know if he finds it too vulnerable. I'm not sure, but he's gone from job to job to job to job. So as soon as there's a stressor,
Okay. Yes.
he leaves.
Yes. Yes. Because he has no confidence that he can fix it.
Yeah, he has called me in tears
Yeah.
of somebody said something or they made a comment, and I'm like, son, just relax, go take a walk.
Right.
And usually by the end of the conversation, he feels better. But he's been to different counselors, but he's never been identified as in the spectrum. And I really don't know what to do, because now he's at the point of like, nobody can help me.
How old is he?
He is 26.
Oh, he's 26.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. One of my graduates was diagnosed at 30. So I've done that.
Wow.
And it's kind of like why didn't I see that? Right.
Yes.
They other diagnoses that masked what was really happening.
Exactly. Exactly. And so, like I said, right now, I'm not sure, how to proceed with him, but I did talk to him last night and I said, hey, maybe we need to talk to a coach. And he was quiet, so he didn't say no. And this was kind of like an expectation of this meeting today with you.
Oh, good.
So I hope that, he continues this path, and, we shall see.
Yes. And so what I would do with a 26-year-old who's not diagnosed, but is giving us a pattern here, I would just start talking about what are the most obvious things you're noticing.
Okay.
And just start a list. I'm noticing, that at work, when there's a conflict, you have no confidence in solving it, and so you leave, or whatever, however you want to do it. What's, then what's the next thing that you notice? Not as obvious, but the next, what's the next thing? Noticing these things happening.
Okay.
And then you just stop. This is the hardest part, because we moms love to solve the problem.
Right.
It took me a year of walking with my suicide ideating son to just zip my lip, because I love him so much. And frankly, I love him just the way he is. I don't care, I don't care that he doesn't fit in the, I don't want everybody in the world to fit inside of the darn bell-shaped curve. I love the people on the outsides. I'm probably one of them. So God, I know that I have lots of relatives out over there, and I love them too. So why would I want to smush him? So you can say to him, these are the things I'm noticing. Zip your lip and see if the thoughts come out. And when the thoughts come out, record them. And just that's your next step.
Okay.
Your next step is just to listen.
Okay.
It really is. And I don't know if I have one here, but I might. No, I don't have it in this one. The formula for listening is emotion plus soundbite.
Okay.
So the emotion is, you seem reluctant, you seem uncomfortable to resolve that problem at work. There's the soundbite, or whatever there's telling you about. So I find it really safe to go with uncomfortable. You don't need to be a poet and, go right, pinpoint exactly the emotion they're feeling. Just drop that pressure. Just say uncomfortable or comfortable. And then the other thing you can say, and it seems to be, intense. You did get home. Yay. Okay, I'm gonna call it now. Okay, great. And her bed is in the dryer. Okay. There's one of my graduates.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm your child.
You're my child. Yes, okay, I can say that too.
Graduates, I'm your child.
She just got back from work.
awesome.
I don't know.
If you want to say hi, you can tuck in. Yeah. Say. This is Alana.
I'm the youngest.
Hi, Alana.
You can see her shirt. PetSmart.
Oh my gosh, cute.
She works as a doggy daycare provider at PetSmart.
Oh,
Loves this job. She worked for a number of years. I
What
don't
do you
know.
mean, only 2?
No, 4 years taking care of kids after school
Oh.
as an after school counselor.
Yeah.
That would be the after school counselor. This is the doggy daycare. This
No,
is
it's even higher.
up here.
wow.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
PetSmart's a wonderful employer. They give their part-time people a 401k after, I don't know how it was, but she got sick pay and vacation pay as well. And they pay her holiday pay as
Wow.
so when she worked Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's Day, she got extra pay. So
Wow, that is fantastic.
yeah, they're a great part-time employer. So thanks.
Say bye to Daphne.
Bye, Daphne. And this is Daphne.
Bye, Daphne.
She's 12. She came on when she was around 6.
Oh,
And she's just the light of our life. So what can I say?
I'm just kidding.
She's
I'm just kidding.
she's attached to Alana at the hip. Alana's her first preference. I'm a distant second.
aw.
So cute. Yeah. So there's she's one of the ones that lives with us. And she's making such progress. She's almost 20. She just turned 27. She's really making progress.
Wow.
So, and never wants to leave home. So we'll see. Maybe that's what ends up happening. Only 1 out of 4 autistic people live independently, according to the research that I could find, which is not easy to find the research. Only 1 out of 4 do. And so if that's where it ends up, that's where it ends up. But I want her to be I want her to have all these tools, know all these skills and have practiced them, so that when I do my quiet, smooth exit from this world, the only thing she has to worry about is her grief, and she doesn't have to worry about being okay.
Correct. And I think that's the worry for most parents is, how are they going to survive after you're gone?
Mhm.
And it's interesting. I've met more and more people with children in the spectrum that they don't know that they're in the spectrum. I'm like, oh, I think you're 25-year-old, 24-year-old. And so it's interesting because it feels like we have a whole generation of children
Mhm.
that are there, and there's no safety nets for them aside from family. And even my husband, this is my second marriage, his son finally found housing, but he wanted to leave the money to the daughter so she could manage the money, and she said no. And I said, well, you can't make her. There has been a lot of negative interaction in between them, so you
Yeah.
need to have somebody that's neutral.
Yeah.
And it was really hard. He was just diagnosed, he's almost 30, and he doesn't have any relationships with any of the family. Everybody's an enemy.
Yeah.
And so anyway, different story.
Yeah. My mother's second husband's son, did you follow that? So my
Yeah.
mother's husband's son had trouble with money as well. They set up a trust,
Mm-hmm.
and that is how the money is being distributed to him.
Very good. Yeah.
So it can be done. And yeah, I just thought about that this morning. Oh, he's probably neurodiverse.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And
Yep.
even when you just listen to the news, single males living with mom, I'm like, he's not diagnosed
Yeah. Yeah.
with, with anger issues or, tantrums,
Regulation problems.
regulation problems. Yes.
Yes. Dr. Neff says that she's a late diagnosed autist as well, that she was diagnosed at 40.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is not, especially with women, because it does differently, but it's not unusual. There's a lot online now, though, for people that are diagnosed later. There are a lot more, there's Discord people and places where them to go. So just like I said, just reflecting and writing things down and not trying to rush into a solution, because frankly, getting a diagnosis, what's that going to do for you? You got a diagnosis. Now you still got to figure it out.
Sure.
Right? You still got to figure out what works. And the thing that really that pushed me into my depression dip after 9/11 was I kept thinking, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It sounds so innocent, but it was really detrimental because the result of saying that sentence made me feel helpless. So I just, kind of spun on all the things that could go wrong. And as a result, for me, it put me into a depression dip.
Right.
So we just have to watch. I mean, if I do a TED Talk, that's going to mean the main message. We don't have it. I don't know what to do. I don't know everything to do, and that's okay. I know the next thing to do.
Okay.
The very smallest next step I can take. And with our kids, it's always, you can't go wrong with listening. Listening is love. That's how we love them at this stage of the game. And we just start to gather up stuff and because the minute our brain notices things, it's going to pull more from the environment. I have a YouTube channel. You can always watch stuff there. You can search for late diagnosis autism on YouTube. That seems to be their favorite place, right? They don't want to read a book. They're reluctant to read blog posts, right? Or articles or whatever. But if you can give them a YouTube, sometimes they, in their screen usage, will find time to watch that.
Okay.
The other thing I found really helpful is texting.
Okay.
I really find that texting really works better than if it's something controversial, especially if I know they're going to have a bad reaction to what I have to say, like, you're going to have to pay for that.
Right.
That accident you just had in the car, we're not going to claim it. We don't do that anymore. You pay for it in cash, because we've learned that that's what prevents that from happening again. So when they actually have to pay for the accident,
Exactly.
always just fender benders. They're not, $15,000, $20,000 accidents.
Right.
They probably would claim it, but if it's less than 5, I figured they should pay for it.
Yep. I agree.
So sometimes it's good to just say, here's what you owe this month in a text. So you don't get, the fireworks.
Right.
Yeah. And make statements rather than questions like, what were you thinking? Not a good question.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that doesn't even work with me.
No, it doesn't work with both of us.
Why did you do that?
Why did you do that? Well,
Mhm.
let me tell you, if it was a logical thought at the time,
That's why I understood. I'm sorry.
that's why I made a mistake. Driving in this, it was in the snow, there was underlying ice, didn't know how to pump the brakes, went into panic mode, froze, just pushed the brake down, skidded right into the stop sign.
Yep.
That's gonna happen.
Yep.
It's not the first time in our house.
That's why I moved to Florida.
I've done it myself. So we can all laugh about it.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks. Thanks, everybody. You got 10 extra minutes.
Thank you.
Permission. Yes. It's
I'm-
so-
I have a lot of thoughts. I mean, it's really great to hear where other people are with their kids and see how that, bodes for my daughter. I just feel like I wish I had a lot more time one-on-one with you, Lynn. I know you're stretched so thin, but I just, I'd like to talk about things, but I don't want to overly share. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because Jill might,
Yeah.
I'd want her to watch this video and, she doesn't want to hear all my thoughts about.
Yeah. Yeah. No
Is there a
worries.
support group?
So I am in the process of creating a community. I'm following Dr. Neff's lead. She has a wonderful community that is for autistic people and for autistic clinicians that are affirming neurodiversity. I'm in a part of hers, and I just haven't finished getting it going yet. But so what I want to do is just continue to encourage you to, to open up my emails, and I'll continue to email you. Jill's in a special program. She's got it's the VIP introduction to the art of adulting. She signed up for 15 1-hour one-on-one with her and her daughter. And that's the only way I do it. I will only do it with both the parent and the graduate. I don't want to be the guide. I want you to be the guide, and I'll be the helper. So, because you're going to be with them for the rest of their lives. I doubt you're going to pay me for the rest of your life. Right? So I want to make it so that you can do all of this. And that's what Jill was referring to, the one-on-one conversations that we do have. And we'll do a wrap-up. Don't worry, Jill. We'll do a wrap-up conversation when this is all done. So we're almost done. We're in, so we have 5 more sessions left out of 15.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that is available. I only do a few though, because I just don't have enough time on my calendar. So I just do one at a time is what I do. So if you want to go on a waiting list there, you can just email. But this wasn't meant to be a sales conversation. So
No worries.
yeah, just FYI, the background. Yeah. And both Eileen and Paula, by the way, are in the program, which is $100 a month. And they didn't have the VIP introduction, and they're doing just fine.
Awesome.
It'll work that way too. So I'd love it if you join that community for sure. That's where you get me 6 hours a week.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. All righty. Well, good. Thanks everybody for coming. And I'm so glad you found it helpful. And once Dr. Neff publishes her book, I'm going to see if I can get her back.
Awesome.
All righty.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank
Thanks for your
you.
time.
You
Appreciate
bet.
it.
Mhm.
Thank
Bye for
you.
now.
Welcome,
Bye-bye.
Lily. Yep. Bye,
Thank you,
Paula.
Aline. Bye-bye. Thank you, Lorraine.
Bye, Lily.
Thank you too.
Betty.
Bye, everybody.